soy Adri.
I'm Isa.
Y yo, Osi.
Y yo, Isis. Bienvenidos a mi mamá.
My immigrant mommy and amigas.
And today's tema is our immigrant mommy. So we're going to be talking about the experiences that we had with our very own immigrant mommy. Right now here we have Isis, Adri, myself. We're blood sisters. I'm the oldest. Then it's Isis and the baby is Adriana. And we have our soul sister, Isa.
I'm the amiga.
And well, obviously, like she's mentioned, we share a mom, but even though we share a mom, las experiencias que pues cada una de nosotros vivió con nuestra mamá es muy diferente y creo que nos ha formado a las mamás que somos ahora en día. Entonces, pues no sé, yo una de las experiencias creo que tengo muy clara con mamá, que fue siempre muy firme conmigo de aprender a cocinar. No sé si era porque veía que me encantaba la cocina.
No es cierto, era porque yo como mayor nunca mostré interés en la cocina.
Y yo como menor quería que todos cocinaran para mí.
Entonces, pues sí, yo creo que, y eso es algo que pues ahorita yo tengo, mi nena, la más grande solo tiene 4 añitos, pero pues aún así yo creo que sí es algo que le quiero enseñar, que me enseñó mamá a mí, que es muy importante. Pues creo que en el país de uno siempre es de que te enseñen a cocinar, que tú como mujer sepas cocinar y todo eso. Obviamente ya pues creo que es por tema de que, bueno, la mujer y así, pero a mí me encantó esa parte y creo que quiero compartirla con mi hija, no sé ustedes.
Well, creo que, bueno, una pregunta. ¿La quieres compartir porque es algo que sería una vivencia y una relación así que estás creando entre tú y tu hija, o lo estás haciendo para que
le cocine el marido?
Ajá.
No, nada que ver. No. Yo creo que lo estoy haciendo porque creo que gracias a eso se formó una muy bonita relación. Bueno, tengo muy buena relación. Bueno, las tres tenemos buena relación, pero creo que para mí eso fue súper clave para tener la relación que tengo con mamá. Como que
bueno, yo no tuve una así que digas que bruto, qué buena relación como la que tuviste tú con
creo que ahora la tienes mejor.
Ahora la tengo mucho mejor, pero
porque las dos son súper ansiosas, súper preocuponas. Oh my God. Adriana se convirtió en mi mamá.
Oh man, I think in my case, since I don't share a mom with you guys, I was like the only girl. I was raised amongst 5 guys, so I was forced to have to cook, and I hated.
Did you have to cook for your brothers?
Yeah,
your
I was the youngest of the.
And so
boys.
now you hate cooking.
I hate it with a passion.
Yeah, I think we all have all the way.
Yeah,
I think we all have one thing that it's just not us, and I think
in my house,
in your house is cooking.
And no, and you guys like yo me sentí so like it made me smile el otro día that Valentina, which like I said, she's only 4, and she came up to me and she's like, "Mami, enséñame a cocinar mis taquitos de quesito," and it was like, oh, like she really wants to learn, you know. So I just feel like that's what I miss. I feel like those moments. I feel like I want to live that way.
But do you want to teach your son how to cook?
Yeah, I think I would. He actually told me that he wants to be a chef or a soccer player.
Oh, my son went through that when he wanted to be a chef. Like, I taught my son how to
He makes
cook.
his own sandwich because right now with the whole COVID thing, I'm still working some days from home. So like, you know, I was in a meeting and I'm like, can you make your sandwich? I mean, he's 6. He knows how to make a sandwich. So, but I think it more than anything, the bond. I think that's what I remember with mom. You know. So, and I know that Osi didn't really cook, but
I never showed any interest in cooking at all. I've never really liked the kitchen. I used to love cleaning. I used to love organizing the closets. I used to cry and like
we're
total
6
fits.
kids. It was 6 kids in our family.
Yeah, but when my sisters who are here and will not let me lie will mess everything up in a matter of minutes. Things that would take me days, hours, blood, and they did not care. They just honestly did it, I think, to mess with me. But with my mom,
I don't think we did, but
it was
serious.
It was different than it was. I'm the oldest of the 6, so it's the 3 girls and the 3 boys who are the younger ones. But my mom, the thing was, I feel that when I was growing up at that age to learn to cook, they had their own business. They were working insane hours that she really didn't spend as much time cooking as later on when she had more time for us. So again, since I didn't show any interest, but with my mom, it's a different relationship than with Isis and Adri for sure, because like I said, she was working so much, and we came here when I was I was 9. It's crazy because we would like take care of each other.
Yeah.
We would be left alone a lot of the time.
When we were in Mexico, because I don't really have a lot of memories cuando estábamos en Mexico. I was still like...
I used to think that it was dreams what I had, but then when we went to visit Mexico, I literally, dreams that I thought I was having were actually memories, like core memories that I started coming back.
I really, generally, I don't know what the hell. I mean, I'm already bad with my memory right now, but like, I don't remember a lot of things from Mexico, so...
There's a lot of it, really, that I don't remember. I remember with my grandma and grandpa, like, I remember certain things, like Mother's Day and that like that, but they're so random and so far in between. So it's very odd.
Can I just bring this back? I don't know who taught my son how to cook because I didn't. He's like an amazing cook because he cooks some very bougie dishes that I don't know. Like, why would you put?
Do you think it's because you didn't cook that he felt the need to learn? Well, it might not be, but I think that's the thing with our parents, right? Like, we go back to our immigrant mommy. There was things that she did that could have built in us the eagerness de aprender a hacerlo también just like her, or build something in us where be like, that's not something that I want to do. Yo creo que growing up, I came here when I was 3, so there's very little that I remember, but I think that being the youngest one and having someone that likes to clean and someone that likes to cook,
she was lazy.
I got to sit back and just like enjoy. But I think that in seeing my mom and how hard she worked and how, badass she was, I think that when I became a mom, I felt like there was a standard. And my mom set the bar really high. And I think that's how I've been working towards becoming that kind of mom, that badass mom. Porque I don't think que nadie me enseñó a cocinar, no porque mi mamá no quiso, pero yo no quería aprender, porque ¿para qué? O sea, cocinaba mi hermana y...
Pero ahora sabes cocinar.
Y ahora, throw it down in the kitchen. but it's because I felt
still not good in the kitchen.
No, but I think because I felt that eagerness de aprender a cocinar, not to feed my husband or to but...
Well, a little bit to feed her husband, because...
I think with Adri and me,
that's not the reason why.
It's more of the love of the food.
Yeah.
That you're like, because mom is not here no more, like you want to recreate those dishes that she used to make.
Yeah.
That was just so good.
And till this day you can't recreate
when we went to Mexico, I mean, just to, like, when we went to Mexico, what was it, like 4 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, I got a little sick from going over there, down at the water or something.
You got sick because you wouldn't stop eating.
No, but I did not care. I just kept eating because it was just her food, like I'm gonna be there for 3 weeks. I don't care if I'm gonna be in the bathroom every time. I'm gonna eat her food because of that, and I think it's one of those things that it's just the flavor just brings back those memories.
Yeah, Did your mom cook, Isa?
She did. She cooked a lot, but then once like her and my dad separated, she was just full work mode. And correct me if I'm wrong, it was like, ahora sí como toda buena mamá mexicana, los más grandes cuidan a los más chicos, but in my case, it was a little bit tweaked because my older brother, I was only girl, and my mom always said, no, es que la mujer es la que cocina. Yeah. And then like here, I learned how to cook in Mexico with my first husband's mom, and I'm like, oh yeah, yo chingona, voy a tortear una puta quemada que me di, Lord Jesus. Like, todas mis manos, it was bad.
You're talking about this lady que está en Mexico y torteando todos los días.
A true G immigrant mom.
I thought I was up there, no.
Yeah, estas son las mamás que realmente se levantan a las 4 de la mañana a tortear y a
limpiar el patio,
a limpiar todo, o sea, y lo hacen todo y by like midday ya está todo listo y desayunan. Meanwhile, we're out here struggling every morning just to open our eyes.
But she set my sights, and I'm like, oh man, that's what like a traditional at-home mom does.
Yeah, right, because you were born here, and we let's mention that you were born here, so tú no te veniste de México, tú no sabes lo que era crecer en México.
Pero se fue a México.
Allá aprendiste, and you were fairly young, you were in your teenage years cuando fuiste a México.
How long were you there for?
Roughly like a year almost, right?
Yeah, it was almost a year.
So like I said, like what memory do you have of mom? I don't even think I've ever asked you that.
Well, with mom, I think that as I've grown older, I appreciate more of how hard she worked as just being a mother. Like just basic things of taking care of 6 kids.
Yeah.
Different ages, getting them dressed, getting them showered.
It's so in your head.
the fact that we lived in New York, there were 6 of us, and if there was an appointment, it's her and the 6 kids. If there
How
is,
the hell did you do that?
you know, like taking a train, taking the stroller, winter storm. I have
car.
a very vivid memory of her, like a school day. Huge snowstorm came down, and we're like walking in like I don't know, it must have been like more than 12 inches of snow, and it was coming down. And she's like, nope, you're going to school, get ready, you know, jacket, scarf, everything you need. And we are like going up against the wind. At one point I honestly felt like the wind was just gonna fly me away,
But that was important to her.
but for her it was just like, education is priority. You have to go to school. You cannot just because there's a snowstorm not go to school.
Yeah.
You're going.
Yeah.
And you know, her and you and Isis and I mean everyone. She would take all of us. We would walk down the street, snowstorm and everything,
And I think-
to get to school.
Yeah, that's true.
And
And I
it's
think
just
that's
like,
when we get upset as moms now, that it's like, oh, you don't want to go to school because your boo-boo hurts? Like, what the hell? Like, no, there was no boo-boos when we were with our moms. Our moms were like, no, you deal
Oh my
with
god,
it.
yeah. This one time I fell and I scraped my knees and I couldn't bend my knees. I was on the bus the next morning. I needed stitches.
like, how easy would it have been for her to say, oh, perfect reason for me to like not have to deal with getting this kid stressed, with not having to get out of my house. There's a huge snowstorm. She's not gonna go to school. No, she didn't even think about herself. She's like, you know what? Shower up, get dressed, everybody, and we're off.
And I think that that's like the biggest thing I feel like with that. Sometimes you forget about our immigrant mommies, right? Like how
hard they have
it, because at the end of the day, I mean, we're all como mamás, we're already facing tantas cosas that then you add a layer of, you know, the immigrant part, que estás en otro país, tienes tu propia cultura. And I think that para mí, like I said, mi mamá, I can always remember at the end of the day, like how warm, you know, those hugs or coming home to her food felt. Like it was like we can have a really shitty day, pero when we got home, you know, many times, and I'm not saying that every time because she did work a lot, but anytime that she could, it was the best food. At some point, 3 different foods because not everybody liked it. And I think that that's one memory that I think stays with me is that I struggle, right, with, you know, cooking one meal, but I remember my mom sitting there cooking that, you
For
know.
my brothers, los niños.
No chile, you know, like no comen chile
For the
los
no
niños,
sabo
for the
kids.
no sabo kids, but at the same time giving us our food, our comfort food, you know, and my dad. And so I think my core memory is that my immigrant mommy always was like, I can do it. And there was no if, ands, or buts. We never questioned her because there was no like reason to question her.
I don't ever remember
It's
like
crazy.
getting home and my mom like laying in bed because she didn't feel well.
That's
yes.
Like, oh, my mom is sick, so don't bother her. She's sleeping. Like,
Never.
I have
like
no
again, that
memory
puts
of
the
that.
standard, like lo chingona que eran, y like, ay, Dios mío, nosotros ahorita, ¿me entiendes? Es lo difícil,
Like,
es lo difícil.
it's a miracle I'm walking.
Everything hurts. Everything. It's true. Like I don't remember mom calling out on her.
Mind you,
like,
she gave birth, you know, to 6 kids while I was, I was 2 years old when you were born. But even that, I was older when she gave birth to the boys. Like, I don't remember my
Maternity
mom
leave?
on bed rest. I don't.
Yeah,
and she
no.
had C-sections. She had natural birth. Like, I have no memory of her ever just laying down saying,
No.
I'm tired, I'm sick, I don't
Yeah.
feel good.
Well, because her mom was in Mexico, so it's like but with us, she was like, oh no, you know, I remember she was here when only Carlitos
Yeah,
your son was born.
my son was born.
And she wanted,
She was all about you need to lay down, take care of yourself, the cuarentena, you know. I don't think she ever said like, no, you know, te tienes que parar a hacerle comer.
Yeah,
No,
no.
but I bet you
her-
that she was hard on herself.
Yeah, so it's just, you know,
her expectations were probably really high. What's a memory that you have, Isa, or a core memory from your immigrant mommy?
I think my mom worked so hard because she was a single mom of us 5. So it was like really, really hard for her. She had multiple jobs. And on top of all that, there was even a room. The living room in our house, we were not allowed to go in there. It was spotless. She had like shelves with glass. And I used to think, I'm like, how do you have time to clean all that? Because this shit was spotless. Yeah. So she was really hardworking and she had everything to a dime. Like everything was organized, everything was clean. I'm like, when do you have time to do all that? Like,
yeah.
And that really stuck with me.
Yeah, how did they find the way to do things is crazy, and not knowing the language. Like, but now a lot of people hablan español. Donde quiera que vas, hay alguien before.
Oh my God, yeah, but back then.
Yeah, they
It's so funny though, because when we had just gotten here, well, yeah, obviously we started going to school, but it's not like I picked up English like right away. It took me a hot minute. Adri, I think, started picking up English a lot sooner.
English I didn't know I would make up the words.
Yeah. Then but it's funny that because we were going to school, if we went to a doctor's appointment, I would go as a translator. So
same thing with my mom.
Like in your head is like what? Like no.
And I know that you guys out there, I know you guys can identify with that because I know a couple of people que were official translators at age 7 of their parents, and then God forbid you didn't know a word. It's like, entonces, ¿para qué vas a la escuela? You know that means, oh my gosh, it is
pressure,
so,
and you
so
just knew, like, there's an appointment, like, oh God, I'm gonna be translating it. I don't know what the hell. Like, how do you even? Sometimes he talks to you in English now, like the doctors, you don't even know what he's saying to you. Like, imagine now being 9-10 years old with barely speaking English, and you have to translate to your mom.
But can you imagine how that was for mom though? Like, you have to take your kids to the doctor, and for you not to even be able to communicate, because I feel like que ahora ya tienes trabajadoras sociales, or like I said, como que hay más accesibilidad.
There's more resources for sure.
Para
100%. Like
pero antes, like how our moms did it, not just for the doctor,
all of our birth certificates,
everything.
Your birth certificates are wrong.
Llamar para.
They are. Denise, her name is Denise, my sister, but it's Dennis on her birth certificate.
Oh wow.
Junior with a J, it's Junior with a Y. Yeah, like on my birth certificate, I'm my mom's sister. I'm not her daughter. I'm her sister.
What?
So,
That is
yes,
crazy.
she didn't know.
But you got that fixed, right?
Still, no. Anybody out there?
Who knows what the process is like?
Please let me know because I need to fix that.
I don't know if you want to appear as your mom's sister or your birth certificate. That's funny. That sounds
and
like
my
a
middle
big
name
mistake.
is like,
That's not a whoopsie.
it's like big,
No,
but
yeah,
she
but
didn't know.
How do you? And there's immigrant moms que vienen y solamente tienen educación de secundaria, primaria.
Yeah, my mom.
And like I've met a lot of people que aquí están entrando a clases de secundaria and stuff. And
I don't think my dad even knows how to write his actual name.
Like,
he doesn't know.
How do they do it? And how did they get this far?
Yeah, like
and
how did they make it from Mexico all the way to New Jersey to the Jersey Shore to have me?
I know, and it's not just the struggle of actually traerte a tus hijos a otro país y asimilar otra cultura y asimilar otras cosas.
No.
It's, el trabajo de realmente enseñarle a tus hijos a otro mundo and then batallar y balancear tu mundo con el de ellos.
Sí, porque empezamos a ir a la escuela y ya no eres de que, solo lo que decían en tu casa, ahora es, me acuerdo que siempre, I always remember, and I always tell this story to Eric. I was like, I remember que en la escuela había una niña que siempre llevaba Quaker granola bars, and my mom would be like, oh no, eso está muy caro. And all my life, I wanted Quaker granola bars, and now I buy them by the box. And I don't care. And it's just,
it's those little traumas that you don't realize never left you.
Yeah.
And I was I don't even eat them sometimes. I'm just having them there.
One of my traumas was Halloween, because of course all the kids had costumes and so on. And it's like every year it was just like the gypsy for me. It was just gypsy
because I was a mouse for like 4 years.
Gypsies that you can find around the house.
Vampires.
Yeah,
I think
so many years.
But isn't it crazy how she could have been like, we just don't have it or whatever. She just made it work.
Yeah,
she made it work.
And let me tell you that, not for nothing, but yo me acuerdo when it was my turn to be a gypsy, she would create this costume that was like so awesome, and that's one of my memories. And it felt like I look really good in this, until you outgrow it, and because you're a little kid, and what do you know that that's not a costume and that wasn't purchased at the store? Like, I saw other kids. The one time she purchased, oh my gosh, this memory. The one time she decided to purchase a costume, it was a freaking pumpkin.
Oh, you
the dreaded pumpkin. I will always remember that, and I will not ever purchase that costume for my kids because that trauma that I had.
Because people were in Halloween a pumpkin costume. I always think of it.
I was miserable. I was so miserable, and I hated it until this day. I remember feeling like, why would my mom put a costume on me like this? And it was one of those costumes, I think, like that literally the pumpkin was like completely round. It was like not even.
Oh, it was it had the two holes where your legs would go in and then your body would be inside the pumpkin.
And it was super cool. I guess now that I see it, I'm like, if I bought it to one of my kids, that would probably be a really, really cool costume. But just being a kid, and that, I think she was trying to, kind of compensate or overcompensate for, not giving me a costume those years before that, but it was the worst costume that I could ever get.
At the time, no one wanted to be a pumpkin. Maybe nowadays, but back then,
I don't think anyone would want to be a pumpkin, not that kind of pumpkin. And honest to God, I really enjoyed my gypsy days. I was fine. And the next year I asked her that I did not want to be a pumpkin. I think that memory that I have is just as a kid, you really don't see that. And I think that my mom thought que sí nos damos cuenta, and that's why, she went and she bought this. Yeah, she needed to go buy an actual, costume for me because yo era la chiquita y ya por fin tenía para, and
yeah, I don't think I ever had a real costume. Everything was
Mommy
homemade.
Made a mistake there.
Whatever she could find in the house and make it maybe you might look like a pirate with this on. Put a patch on your house.
Yeah, but it worked out. And es una cosa que define a la mamá inmigrante.
They make it work.
They
find a way.
They're freaking resourceful AF. They are so resourceful porque agarran de aquí, agarran de allá. Hasta para comer, Así hay días que no había. Yo a veces abro mi nevera and I'm like, no tengo nada que hacer de comer. Bye. And then
food.
My mom, take out. My mom abría la nevera y si no había algo, yo se inventaba lo que sea, pero comíamos y comíamos bien. And I think that again we go back. Our immigrant mommies are resourceful, and I think that as immigrant mommies ourselves, I think now we're starting to see.
You start to appreciate everything that they did for you. That's a fact. Because
things,
you are doing things now that they give so much value to what they did back then.
Yeah.
So like you said, the little things is how did my mom do this? Geez,
for sure.
Why can't I do this? If my mom did this, I can do this.
Yeah. And have you guys ever had those breakdowns, those mommy breakdowns, those dreaded
last week,
yesterday. Do you guys? I mean, and this is for all the mommies, right? No nada más de immigrant mommies, but all the mommies that were so hard on themselves. But those breakdowns are kind of donde más te acuerdas de tu immigrant mommy, right? Te acuerdas de como Osi dijo, de todo lo que hacía por ti. Y todo lo que tú no puedes hacer. Que ellos hicieron.
Ahí es donde nos pega el querer estar a ese estándar de super chingona mamá y de que hicieron todo y que nosotros con tan poquito, o bueno, al menos sentimos nosotros que con tan poquito ya nos estamos quebrando, pero pues es que también es otro mundo, o sea, es diferentes problemas, es diferente, es todo, entonces yo creo que
la batalla es diferente.
Entonces, ahí nos tenemos que acordar que sí, o sea, sí es.
But that's where you pull a lot of that energy from and all that strength, knowing that it can be done.
Yeah.
That there is a way. You might not see it now, but it can be done because you saw your mother do it. You lived it.
And there's things, I feel like there's things que, I don't know, que cuando chiquitas, por ejemplo, nos daba penas, y porque vamos a hacer la lista, ya empiezas a vivir otras cosas y ciertas cosas te dan pena, como recuerdo yo súper vivo que cuando ya llegamos de México, no sé ustedes, bueno, yo me acuerdan, que tenemos una maestra que nos regalaba ropa. No se acuerdan, que nos regalaban ropa. Entonces era como que, bueno, o sea,
no, it was actually one of my teachers.
Yeah.
But she was just the nicest person because she never did it in a way to embarrass you or anything. She always would put me to the side. And
shout out to those teachers, by
the way. Miss Rios and Miss Columbus, or Colomba, I think it was. And they would always pull me to the side and be like, oh, hey, listen, I have kids at home and they've outgrown this clothes. Dile a tu mamá that she can come and get it afterwards.
She didn't have any, I feel like she didn't have any shame. you know, in her game. And I feel like
I don't think it was about shame. It was about need.
Necessity,
no, yeah, but I also feel like
yeah.
hay gente, bueno, o sea, me he topado ahora en este mundo que a veces sí le dices, oye, mira, mi niño no le queda, quieres, te lo paso, y como que hasta a veces se ofenden, y no es eso, es simple y sencillamente ayudarnos entre mamás.
Looking out for the moms.
Yeah, looking out for the moms. Y, you know, back then, it was like, I remember that, you know, you do feel a certain way, like, oh my God, and they were so nice, the teachers, they would always do it like after class, nobody would see
after
it.
school, and I just remember
so
like the
sweet.
huge black garbage bags, and it was just the anticipation to get home to see, oh my God, what?
Yeah.
Well,
That's
because I
gonna
feel
be
like
something new
there's
for
allies
me.
too, and I think that we forget. In speaking about this, creo que nos olvidamos de, you know, the allies to the immigrant mom that are kind of like, they see the struggle of all immigrant mommies and que están ahí y te aportan, ¿no? En vez de quitarte, te dan.
Yeah.
And I think that más allá también no nos podemos olvidar que aparte de las mamis, también en nuestra cultura hay tías, you know, hay comadres, hay madrinas that step in, right? Yo conozco mucha gente que tiene que dejar a sus hijos con las abuelas, con las tías en México, o las tías se las traen para acá o se traen para acá los niños y los empiezan a criar. Muchos de los nuevos padres, por decirlo así, son familiares. La mamá tal vez ya no está, tal vez no puede estar, tal vez no está en la capacidad de estar, y entran a sus zapatos otro tipo de mamis, right?
I
and we
wish
can't
that would have
forget
been
that.
our case, because we grew up in New Jersey, no kind of family. We had nobody. Luckily, I fell into the hands of my first suegra. Oh, I love her, Doña Angela. I love you, because she taught me so much. And you're right.
Yeah,
there are
it's
other
que
people that step in for,
and they kind of
mom.
do that mommy role in another capacity, right? Pero they're also those immigrant mommies, and we can't forget about them, porque sí hay muchos de nosotros que crecimos y hacemos estas relaciones, o hay cosas que tal vez nuestra mamá no hizo, no porque no pudo, o no porque no quiso, o no por cualquier razón, simplemente no las podía hacer, o porque estaba muy ocupada con otras cosas y que ni se daba cuenta o lo que sea, y entran a sus zapatos those allies, right? Ese apoyo de otras personas que ven que tal vez a ti hoy te faltó un abrazo porque no tienes un buen día y tu mamá desgraciadamente no se dio cuenta, and you know, so sí hay momentos where other immigrant mommies step in or other support systems step in, and we can't forget about that.
And even when, like you said, when you were here, it was just you guys, but you had suegra, your first suegra.
Yeah.
There are immigrant kids with their immigrant mommy that their mommies are working all the time, and they cannot be there, but you see them working so hard. They inspire you. And if there is nobody else, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of examples of kids out there that grew up on their own, learning all these things on their own, cooking, taking care of themselves because mommy was working, mom and dad were working. And you know what? You grow up without resentment because you saw that they were working to give you a better life, to offer you more than what you had. And there's a lot of people out there that have that, and that they have that pride to say, oh, you know, I got my degree because my mom was working 70, 80 hours, a week for not being there, and they don't resent them at all. They talk about it with pride that they weren't there, but they were able to get to where they are thanks to the fact that their mom wasn't there. They were busting their butt out working. So it's, you know, sometimes we have to give credit to us too, because many kids, sometimes we like to take the easy way out and say, well, my mom doesn't care. And you look at the good things, the hard work that they do, and it's inspiring. It only inspires you to be a better person, a hard worker, or whatever it may be. So I think there's so many aspects of our immigrant mommies to be proud of. Mm-hmm. And
because even us, we're three, you know, we grew up in the same household, and as you can see and hear, like, we just have different experiences, you know, and different ways of seeing things. And I think that when we were younger, even different ways of reacting to certain things, I feel like the older we've gotten, we see things and give more credit, I feel like, to our mom, because you know, definitely I feel like that's when, you know, when you become a mom, or even if you don't be, you know, you're not a mom, like, I feel like age just brings you more wisdom to realize, you know, so many things that they did and how they made it work. And like I said, it's hard to be a mom, but to be a mom in a country that's not yours, with a language that you don't speak.
All the barriers that you could have.
You can imagine. And it's like,
and make it work.
And have 4 daughters, a soul sister, having all this.
Oh yeah, everybody, guys out there, I am known in the pueblo. I am the other sister, the adopted sister.
Is that it doesn't have to be just your mommy. It could be everybody who steps into the shoes of the immigrant mommy. We thank you, we see you, we appreciate you. And I think este tema que tomamos hoy was to uplift all those immigrant mommies and to say thank you. Yeah.
Can't be perfect and nobody's perfect, but I think that we make it work.
Son
chingonas.
Our respects are my utter respect for my mom, because to think back and see everything that she did for us, priceless.
Seriously.
So thank you, Mommy.
And I'm sure a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah, so if you're out there and you want to share your view of your immigrant mommy, definitely send us your story, and we'll hopefully be able to kind of relate and share it.
For sure.
So final thoughts, guys.
Well, I enjoyed this very, very much, because, like I said, we're mommy, but there's no better topic for me than to speak about my own mother.
Yeah.
And her struggle, and how proud I am of her.
And hopefully hear my kids on the podcast talking so highly of me. Because we're trying here.
So saludos a todas las mamis. And gracias for tuning in today y escucharnos. If you like our content, don't forget to follow us on social media. Find us as our Mima Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. See you there. Nos vemos.